Here we are. We're going to work on glazing over your spheres. These have a little bit of oil paint. This is done in oil paint, but for you acrylic painters out there, I wanted to give you a demo too. I'm going to use this gloss glazing liquid. It will do two things. It will increase the translucency and also slow the drying time so that you can have a better shot at blending those colors together. So remember, this glazing liquid and acrylics in general, the polymer itself has that milky whiteness to it, but it dries clear. So whatever you do is going to dry a little clearer and therefore a little darker than you start. This is kind of clogged up. I'm just going to put some of it out there. This has enough polymer in it. You can use it alone or blend it with the colors, the acrylic colors, in any ratio. So I don't have to worry about adding too much or too little. I mean, no such thing really as too little of this glazing medium. I'm going into it. And this is a chance for you to play. I don't have any real strict ideas of how this is going to turn out. It's a place for you to see what the paint does. I'm going to go in with this violet. I'm going to tone it down a bit, mixing in the complement. So I had that violet color and then I mixed in a little yellow just to tone it and make it a slightly more interesting color. I'm going to start with the darkest area and work my way to the light. So let's just for kicks, because I don't know that you can see so much what I'm doing. I'm going to zoom in. Here we go. I'm hoping you can see that. I'm going to start out actually a little with some oomph. And I'm just going ahead and mixing right on the canvas. I'm trying to retain, and that's why I've worked with these colors, the quinacridone, the phthalo. The ultramarine blue is also transparent, and the Hansa yellow. Those are the more transparent colors that we have, so you'll have a better chance of retaining that underpainting. And then I'm going to go back into this medium so that when I get to the light values, I'm using less paint and then I can see a little bit of those subtle grays. If I go over, let's just play for a minute here. I'm mixing, let's say oh my gosh, it's so dark. I'm losing my volume. I'm losing all of the underpainting. Take a paper towel. You can put a little bit of water on it and just wipe it right off. You can also, look at that. Oh my gosh, cheater. I love cheaters. And look, you can even lift it out a little further. Mixing it in with that more of that blending medium. You'll find with the weave of the canvas, do you see, I don't know if you could tell, I had dipped the brush into water to kind of scrub it off a little bit. And then if the paint is really watery, it can pool in the surface of the canvas and create that kind of texture, that's going on right there. If you don't want that, wipe it off, work with more of the medium. The medium is a little thicker, so it won't pool as much in the grooves of the canvas, and you'll have a better, and it will be smoother, have a more even coat on that surface. Say, this play a little bit with just putting transparent layers of paint on there, but if you find that you want to brighten up the highlights because you've lost them a little bit, I'm now working with a little bit of white and I'm going over it again and just reinforcing that highlight and smoothing out that value gradation. So play with that as well, because that can be another way if you're kind of struggling with getting your different values to blend nicely. Kind of doing this subsequent layers of glazing on top can help you get those transitions softer. And then remember, you've got a lot of different ones to play with. So let's just say, I don't know, I'm going to try pushing this one. I have my phthalo color kind of toned down, and I want to make it look, I want this to be read more blue. So I'm going over it with a kind of reinforced blue. Sometimes with glazing you think, oh my god, I mean a true glaze is just a transparent layer of color over an underpaint, you know, over something underneath it, so you can see through. It is a fallacy to think that you could just get through the whole thing. I mean, maybe you could, but don't expect to get through the whole thing without having to reintroduce some light in there too, and play with it a little bit to see how that works. Again, the advantage of working with the medium that slows its drying time is that you can go back in and you're like, oh gosh, what did I do? I didn't want it there. And you can just wipe it off.